Welcome to the RS Expert Advice Podcast. In each episode, we interview a trusted expert in the electronics industry to provide purchasers, engineers, installers, and maintainers with valuable insights into the product and technology solutions that can help them overcome common challenges and add real value to their workflows. We hope you enjoy this episode and that you learn something useful and new. Today I'm speaking with Chance Atkins, a product marketing specialist at Phoenix Contact, a leading global supplier of innovative industrial electrification, networking, and automation solutions, about 4 essential characteristics of effective industrial connectors. Welcome, Chance. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your role at Phoenix Contact and how you ended up working in industrial connectivity.
So my name is Chance Atkins. I've been with the company for about a year now, but prior to that, I was actually an intern as well. I did my internship my senior year of college back in 2019. COVID hit, so I actually worked in the distribution center here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Worked there for a little bit, decided to go back to school for my master's, and then once I finished my master's last year, they brought me back on board with the same ICC group, Industrial Connectivity Group, and with the same team as well. So everything kind of just rolled together and it was a perfect fit.
Very cool. Please introduce us to Phoenix Contact.
Yeah, definitely. So Phoenix has been around for 100 years. We actually had our 100-year celebration this year. It first started in Germany in 1923 and then eventually became a global industry in the connectivity world. First started with terminal blocks, which what we are known for, and my product group. I'm the terminal block fast connections guy. And then eventually we started dipping our toes into other fields such as power supplies, PLC relays, anything along the lines of that. So now we are a manufacturer of multiple electronical components, but we are still true to our bread and butter of terminal blocks.
Why is industrial connectivity so important?
Industrial connectivity is so important because it's the core of all electrical connections or technologies in general. Definitely moving into the densely interconnected automation world, but also the industry 4.0 technologies as well. So not just terminal blocks, but also PLCs, as I mentioned before, just sensor actuation and just high volume sensors as well. For example, we have terminal blocks for all types of connections and all your needs. Our first connection here is our sensor actuation terminal block for PTIO. So essentially the way that this works is that you have your sensor or your signal in these two, and then your hot and neutral. That's extremely important because instead of having 3 different connection blocks or 3 different terminal blocks, you can have all in one. So you can have one slice here, another slice there, another slice there. Now the orange block is actually your power coming in. So your hot and neutral comes in, and then you can actually bridge them together here as well. So yes, this is a Phoenix example, but an overall example of importance of having connectivity in any industrial world.
You started to touch on some of these. So what are some of the key characteristics of effective industrial connectors, like as a category?
So the first one that we can touch on is ease of use. Terminal blocks are extremely easy to use, especially if you're reliable connections, just like some of the screw connections, now moving into the spring connections, like spring cage, also push-in technology as well. So just the ease of use, it's self-explanatory. You know, sometimes you just pop a wire in there, and that's how easy it is to just land your wire. Another one could be flexibility. It's a modular block. So if you don't want to use that block anymore and you just want to take that one out and replace it with a new one, it's perfectly capable of doing that in all the terminal block world, not just for Phoenix Contact, but in general, you can typically do that. Going on to the third one, it's durability. The design of it is reliable, it's durable, it's not going to short circuit if you just throw it into some oil or anything like that. We understand that this is a lot of the industries that we work with could be oil and gas, automation. So they're rigorous industries that we work with. So we need a robust technology connection, and that's where terminal blocks come in. Yes, essentially they are glorified wire nuts, but at the same time, they're a top tier glorified wire nut. Now going on to the last one is safety. Of course, 100 years ago, terminal blocks weren't the safest or most modular terminal block that you could have, or way to land a wire, connect a wire. So moving into the safety realm has definitely saved a lot of people, saved a lot of time, and saved a lot of effort as well. Now, a lot of the terminal blocks out there aren't always touch safe, but moving into that realm of being extremely touch safe is becoming more prolific.
Can you tell us about some of the industrial connectors from Phoenix Contact that embody these characteristics?
Yeah, definitely. So the four characteristics, just to reiterate what we went over, is ease of use, durability, flexibility, and safety. And all four of those can be seen in all of our connection types throughout Phoenix Contact. So going into our first demo rail here, and you've seen this a few times, but we'll go in a little bit more in depth. Phoenix Contact has 6 connection types. And currently you can see, going from left to right, we have our
screw,
we have our push-in, we have our spring cage, and we have our QTC. And I missed one, but this is also our bolt or ring lug connection technology. Now I said 6, and if you counted correctly, I only said 5. Here's our newest connection technology, which is push-X connection, which we will go a little bit more in depth later. We just want to focus on this real quick. So ease of use. It's extremely easy to use our product types. For example, I have a wire right here. Push it right in. I'm good to go. I have a secure connection. It's just that easy. Now to remove it, just take the wire out, just like that. So ease of use is huge. Efficient wiring. That's one of the biggest things that we want to talk about, is how efficient can we be with our wiring where it's not causing any troubles or user error. Flexibility. On this line right here, we call it our clip line complete. All 5 of our connections that you see here, and again, 6 being push-X, can be on the same rail, can use the same accessories that you see here, and can be switched out for any of these connection technologies. So if I want to switch out screw with our push-in, that's easy. In fact, we have our combi plugs. I just pulled this one out, and I'll pull this one out. Now notice they are different connection types. This is screw, and this is push-in. Now I just pulled the push-in one out of this one, and I'm just going to put it into this one. It's that simple. It's extremely flexible, but also going for versatility. This wire size is different from this wire size and this one. So you have options, you have breadth and depth in all of our connection technologies. Going back to ease of use again, ease of use, this is key. So if you see this little key mark right there, it can't go in backwards. So that eliminates user error. You can see me trying to struggle and push that in. Now, if you push hard enough, I'm sure you can, but you might break it. Just flip it around. It's keyed, so you don't have to make any mistakes. Now, going into durability, as I mentioned before, all of our connection technologies go through countless testing. I mean, you can list them all out: electrical testing, shock, vibration, submersive, anything along the lines like that. Melt, if this does get a little hot get a little hot and starts to melt, the melting of the plastic won't actually catch anything else on fire. So that goes along the lines of UL94V-0, I believe, which is thermoplastic insulation. Just want to make sure that everything is safe whenever you get into terminal blocks. And then lastly, we kind of mentioned it, but safety. Safety is huge whenever it comes to this. This is touch safe. Actually, no. Screw is not technically touch safe because you have to get the screwdriver and push down. So you are touching the metal, but if I'm just walking by, I'm not touching any of this. In fact, our push-in is actually touch safe because all you have to do is just take the wire and push it in. So it's that simple. And then to remove it, again, push down and you're good to go. So we are moving into a lot more touch safe terminal blocks, and that's across the board. This is obviously for Phoenix and our 5 connections, 6 connections with push-X, but it is becoming more touch safe across the board.
So you mentioned that the push-X technology is new. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you more about the push-X. So going back to the overhead, this is our push-X technology. Doesn't look like much, but it's actually an incredible technology, incredible innovative technology that Germany has come up with. So the same push-in technology that we're used to with the leg spring that you can see here, just flip it on its side, and now it's almost like a mousetrap. So the way that this works, these are all set when they're in this down position, and it's the same orange actuation tab that Phoenix loves to use on their other products. When it's in that down set position, all you have to do is just take your wire. And the big thing about this is that you don't need ferruled wires to make this work. You can have stranded wires, and you just take it into the side, the vertical entry, well, it'd be vertical like this, and that's it. You have a secure connection. The leg spring is now pushed up compared to the one that's down. Your actuation tab is pushed up. So not only are you seeing it, you're hearing it too, and you're feeling it snap. So the mouse is the conductor or the wire, and the trap is the push-X technology. To remove it, you just want to push down on that orange actuation tab and remove it. So again, you can use ferruled, you can use stranded, or you can even use solid wires as well. It's an extremely efficient design with a pre-tension contact spring that supports the connection of, like I said, stripped, rigid, flexible conductors, or anything with or without ferrules.
Can you give us any insights into new push-X products that are currently in development?
So currently we have our XTV, but in development we have our XT. XT is a top-down entry instead of the side entry, and that'll be in the 2.5 millimeter and the 4 millimeter. So just to give an example of what that's going to look like, we have our push-in technology. This is considered our top-down entry, and as you saw before, it's extremely easy to just land your wire. Secure wire, remove it again. This is going to be the same concept as the XT, or the new push-X for the 2.5 and the 4 millimeter, which you can see here. It'll be relatively the same. It'll be the exact same size as these two, 2.5 and 4, and it'll have that top-down entry. The biggest difference is having this push-X technology. So as you saw before, I needed a ferrule to push this in to the push-in technology. With the XT and the XTV, you don't need a ferrule, and you can actually see what's going on. So what we're having, what's actually coming out is a 2.5, like I said, and the 4 millimeter and the top-down entry. What we currently have is our 6 millimeter, our 10 millimeter, and our 16 millimeter. And we have that in the standard gray with the feed through, the blue with the feed through, and of course our grounding block, which is indicated with the green, yellow colored. And then with the 6, we also have our twin, which is a 1 in, 2 out, and our quattro, which is a 2 in, 2 out. In our 10, same line or same colors with the feed through. We do have a twin, which is the 1 in, 1 out. And then with our 16, we have the same colors as the other two. So this would be our current portfolio. What's to come, like I mentioned before, is the 2.5, the 4 millimeter, and the top-down entry for both of those. Now, it is a relatively new premium product. So right now, our portfolio is relatively limited, but in the near future, we'll eventually move into multi-level, double level, and then eventually having functional blocks as well. So we have functioning blocks on our clip line that you can see here. As you saw before, I had the removable combi plug. That'll eventually be in the XT or the push-X technology. We have all the accessories that are also with the push-X technology. And of course, like I mentioned before, we'll have the fuse holders. This would be a knife disconnect here. So all of those will eventually be in the push-X technology category. It's just relatively new right now, so the portfolio is a little low.
But actively expanding. Very cool.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like our listeners to know about Phoenix Contact or the new push-X technology?
I would say with Phoenix and push-X in general, you've seen through this podcast that the connection technology shouldn't be taken for granted. Obviously, we want a secure, nice, tight connection, so we have no loose wires. Loose wires are the number one thing that's completely going to derail a company, an industry, anything. And not only are you losing time now, you're losing money, which is a huge no-no in any industry or any field. So never take a connection for granted, and definitely stay tuned for some awesome push-X connection coming out soon.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Chance, and thank you to our listeners for joining us for this episode of the RS Expert Advice Podcast. For more information about Phoenix Contact, please visit www.phoenixcontact.com. For a complete collection of expert advice content, including more episodes of the RS Expert Advice podcast, please visit us.rs-online.com/expert.